Hello and welcome to another episode of Jaxon Talks Everybody with me, your host Jaxon Stone, and today's episode is episode number 86 of Jaxon Talks Everybody, and we are filming this today on February the 10th, 2022. It's a very special day. We'll get to it, the reason why in a second, but this episode will come out on March the 8th, which is when you'll be listening to it, which is right now, which just happened to be 2 days before our very first YouAreLoved fundraising event. So this is some last minute promotions. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, or if you haven't had a chance to check out the website or check out some donations or what we do, what we're about, our mission, check that out, and then come enjoy some fun festivities, conversations, comedians, live music on March 10th in Denton, Texas. And if you don't live anywhere near that, just check out the website and you'll get all the information you need, which is at youarelovedlife.com. Boom. Thank you so much. But I'm joined today by a very special guest, someone who probably will not call me Jaxon Stone, so just be aware of that, as many guests who come on this podcast don't, so we're very familiar with both names, Aaron and Jaxon, but I'm joined today by my good friend, Christina.
Hi.
So, I've asked you this question a lot in real life, and before I get to it, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Today is actually her birthday.
It is.
She turns 27 today, right now, currently, which is February the 10th, 2022.
Absolutely. It's a great day.
Before I ask the opening question, how do you feel about your birthday, generally speaking?
I am a huge fan of my birthday. I don't think anybody loves their birthday like I do. I kind of become a diva on my birthday. I want things a very particular way. I love celebrating my birthday. It's the one day of the year where I feel like I get to do what I want to do. Just unapologetically get to do what I want to do.
It's the one day a year that you get to do what you want to do.
Yeah, that I just feel like I get to, pull all the cards.
And why do you feel like you can't do that?
I can, but it's just
every other day.
It's not always the way it goes. It's just not always the way it goes. So.
Well, sure, there's a lot of outside circumstances and things of that, but
I think it comes from my family. It was really sweet about birthdays. My mom would let me celebrate the whole month, which I thought was super cute. She texted me a couple days ago and she's like, "Happy birthday month." And I just think it's so sweet that she still pumps me up for that.
Yeah.
I have 4 siblings, so I think just having one day, even though my sister's birthday is on the 13th, Carmen and Casey, they're twins, and their birthday is on the 13th, so we used to have to share birthday parties. But I don't know.
Did you like sharing a birthday party?
When I was little, I didn't really, but I liked it as I was getting older. But we always got our own cakes. Like my mom would make 3 separate cakes for us on our birthdays, and she was really into cake decorating, and she'd do such a good job. So, I don't know. They just always made birthdays special for us. It was sweet.
Your mom sounds like a legend.
She is a legend. Yeah.
From what I know about her, she's a legend.
My mom's a legend.
That's interesting, though. Because I don't feel the same way about birthdays.
Most people don't. I think that's sad.
Well, my mindset about it is that I want to live every day that way.
Yeah.
And so I want to... Every moment is a big moment. Every moment is a special moment. It doesn't always turn out that way, right? Because there's some mundane stuff that we kind of have to go through, work, whatever. All these things that happen in life.
Yeah.
And I relate it to because I learned this in sports. So it's like, you can either view it 2 ways, right? Say the big game's coming up, right? The Super Bowl is happening on Sunday. You're not really a sports fan, but you understand that, right? Mm-hmm. And so you can view that game, the Super Bowl, as the biggest moment of your career, which it is, generally speaking, right? Because it's the pinnacle of that sport, of your profession. Or you can view each and every game the same way, and every moment is the biggest moment because you're never going to get that moment back. And so it doesn't matter which way you view it. Either way is appropriate and real and it makes sense, but you have to be prepared for how you view that situation. So for me, I view it the same way. Like each moment is a special moment. When it becomes my birthday, I'm like, great, I'm just a year older, but I'm wiser and, whatever, and things of that nature. It's cool for people to reach out and be like, hey, happy birthday, I'm thinking about you. Like, that's always nice. But for me, like internally, I don't want to just say it's just another day, because it's not, because every day is a special day. And so that's how I view it. But that's like from a sports background is how I kind of figured that out. Because when I was playing in these big games, or what I perceived to be a big game, I would get more nervous and I would get tense, and things would be like, oh, this is a big game. Oh my God, I'm on ESPN. What am I going to do? Instead of just being like, oh, I played this game literally yesterday. I'm wearing the same cleats, the same jersey. It's the same dirt. It's still special, but it's not any more special. It's just always this special, this kind of feeling. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It does. It makes sense with your personality for sure. Yeah. It's one of the things that makes you so special. So, hey, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Thank you. All right. So now to the most important question that I'm going to ask you on this podcast. It's the theme of Jaxon Talks, everybody. Right. We've got, the reason I wanted you on this podcast, a couple reasons. One is that you are a tremendous help in setting up the fundraiser for YouAreLoved. You were the catalyst behind it, and we'll get more into that after. And the second is, since I met you and became friends and close friends, we've always had like really deep, insightful conversations, and I found you to be someone who is extraordinarily self-aware about the things they're good at, some of their inadequacies, and things that you're always trying to work on and aware of. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on this podcast, also because I enjoy you, and it just happens to be your birthday, so that's also cool. And so we've talked about this question a lot in detail, like over the last couple years, but now I'm asking you here, in front of the world, Christina, how are you doing? Like, for real? For real. Yeah, that's funny. We have talked about this question a lot, and it's interesting thinking about the answer to this question now, because you have kind of seen a progression of this question in my life over the last year and a half, almost 2 years. Yeah. So, wow. But today specifically, since it's my birthday, I want to touch on just one thing. I think that it's been super annoying today leading up to this point, how many people have been saying to me, oh my God, you're so old. And so I love my birthday so much, but people who have been saying that to me are just really getting on my nerves today, because I think we got to get rid of that mindset a little bit. I'm 27.
Yeah. I'm in my prime right now. Like, I'm doing really well. I woke up this morning, I was like vibing to a playlist. It was called birthday, like 30s birthday or whatever, something like that. But I'm feeling really good. I'm really happy about where I am in my life. So having people kind of bring me down like that, saying, oh, you're so old. Like, are you getting, of course, I'm a little stressed about certain things in my life, but I think that time is one of our most valuable resources. So, looking at being 27 and kind of feeling the pressure of certain things is a good thing. And I'm really, really proud of the things that I've overcome in my life. I'm really proud of all of my accomplishments. I'm proud of where I am. I'm proud of my relationships. And I don't know, I don't think that I feel old. I don't think that I am old. I think that if I start saying I'm old, I've got a really, really, really long time of being old. So I don't know, I'm feeling really good. And that question's kind of getting on that statement's getting on my nerves today. But other than that, I'm feeling really, really good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm turning 30 in June 15th.
Oh, you're so old.
30. And I feel the exact same way that you do. Like, I feel like mind, body, spirit wise, if I'm looking at those dimensions of my life, I feel better now than I did at 25.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I did at, 22, right? And I can't imagine what I might be like, or the things I might be doing, or the people I might be able to talk to, or the experiences I might have when I'm 38.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first 29 years of my life have been incredible.
Yeah.
There's been some whirlwind. There's been some ups and downs. There's been some really shitty stuff. But there's also been mostly magical moments.
Yeah, and all of those hard times lead to amazing things, as long as you have a very good outlook on life and you're looking forward to things in a positive way. You have optimism about your future, and so you're not dwelling on those negative things. You're using them to propel you forward. And I think that that's how people need to look at that. I wouldn't want to go back to being 21 or 22. I wouldn't want to relive those years, but I'm happy that I had them, and I'm happy for the experiences that I've gained from them and the knowledge that I have today. But I don't think I would ever want to go back to being that age again.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it makes us wise, maybe not old.
Definitely wise.
Yeah.
100% wise, but not old. Old is a state of mind, for the most part. right? Because if you're treating your body, your mind, and your spirit well, you can do amazing things at 50, 60. Like, I read about stories of athletes doing triathlons and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and they're starting when they're 55 years old and becoming these or they started like this meditation practice and they became like this wise monk until they're like 80s when they started at like 60. You can transform your life at any moment. And so putting that like sort of time frame or pressure on an age bracket is handicapping us.
Yeah.
Why do you think people do that? Do you think it's like cultural, societal pressures of where you quote unquote should be at a certain age?
Yeah, I think so. I think our society puts a lot of pressure on specific things. And that's one of the things I try to remember. Really don't have to follow any of those rules, those societal pressures, the things that people consider norm. Those aren't really things that you have to follow. And I think that we have a pressure of following those rules, and that we have to be a certain person, and we have to have a certain job, make a certain amount of money, have a certain amount of hobbies, be a certain amount of interesting, whatever. And that puts a lot of pressure on doing things and trying things. And there's a fear of failure that prevents people from wanting to do it. Nobody wants to be a failure, especially in our society. And so we're basically just following a very predictable trend of behaviors like go to college, get a job, yada yada, do these things, and then you're going to be acceptable to society, and you're probably not going to fail, and everything's going to be fine. So I think that fear of failing prevents us from being able to try things that might actually make us really, really happy.
Yeah. I think that, let me know what you think. I think that people are avoiding failure and not approaching success. Like they're making decisions in their life, right, to avoid failure, like they said, instead of making decisions in your life to approach success. But on either journey, you're going to fail on either journey, but one's like a timid path, the other is a courageous path. Both are going to have ups and downs and windy roads and failures, but one is going to lead to something that makes you substantially more meaningful and joyous in your life, and one is going to lead you to like this standard, basic comfort zone that people sort of kind of dwell in year after year, and then they reach a 32 and they feel old because they've been living in this kind of going through the motions type life that they were like predetermined to have, instead of being curious and adventurous and falling on their face a bunch of times and getting a bunch of black eyes along the way, and then being like, cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Repeat your quote. You said something about failure to success. Say that again. Avoiding failure or approaching success? Well, it's interesting because like that, what is the definition of success then? Absolutely. Because what you're talking about, avoiding failure, but like the avoiding failure, you're actually talking about failure of your own goals and dreams that would be more personal to you, and running towards success, which is defined by our society. So I just think there's two different definitions of success that we're looking at. What is the societal norm of success, and what is success of the things that you actually would want to achieve? Right. So you have to make that definition clear before you start approaching it or trying to approach it. Yeah. That can be really hard. Of course it can be really hard, but yeah. It's hard to be authentic in a world full of, like, I was thinking about social media this morning. It's like, I suck at social media. I suck at it so much. And it's just because like I don't know how to be authentic on a platform that is not really made for being authentic. I know some people do a really good job of it and I admire them, but it's like so hard to put your true self out on social media, because being your true self is often not what we expect to see in our society. And so I think that being your true authentic self can oftentimes prevent you from being successful. Like not being able to be your true authentic self can prevent you from being successful in your own way, because we have all these expectations that we have to live by. It's hard. Yeah. I struggle with that. Like my things that I like to do, I used to hang out in the wood shop with my dad,
and like we'd build furniture or whatever. I'd like hang out with him and do that kind of stuff. Or I love crafting and I love art and those kind of things like most people don't enjoy doing, most people don't love.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like really dive into those kind of hobbies when you don't really have the support of your, not necessarily the support, but like you don't really have a group of people that love to do that stuff with you, or it's not really as enticing for other people to do that kind of stuff. So it's hard to really want to be exploring those things and to be creative in that way and to be successful in those ways when like nobody else is doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I might end up being 32 and going, dang, I missed out on an opportunity.
Why do you think so?
I don't think that.
Yeah.
But I think that that's how it happens.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, I think that that's how it happens.
Yeah, the social media is very interesting. I try to be very authentic on social media.
You do. Yeah,
I
you
try
do a
my
good job.
best. Because that's one of my deep fears about life. I think I've told you this before. That like I post a video or a podcast episode or a tweet, and you know whoever sees it on the internet sees it. Like, oh, that's cool. But they have like this thought in the back of their mind that like it might not be who he is. He's like presenting something, and then they meet me in real life, and we have a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute conversation, and they already came with like this, you know, preconceived notion that I might be trying to play a performing role on social media because of whatever they think. Like, doesn't matter. And then they don't really hear me and my words when we're having this conversation, and then it confirms that what they believe to be true, that I'm just pretending. And that's also a lot of my own insecurities, right? It's like coming through.
Yeah. I just can't imagine that would happen.
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I think that that's great that you are aware of that's an insecurity of yours, but I think we can nip that one in the bud right away. Like, you're not, I think having a 5-minute conversation with you pretty much solidifies who you are. Like, you are just so kind and so genuine, and you do put that out on your social media. And the way that you talk to people, you have a way of making people feel really heard and feel really special. It's a gift that you have. Not a lot of people have that, especially, it's probably an unpopular opinion, but especially men. They don't have that quality. And you do have a really, really kind heart, and it shows through in every word that you speak. So I don't think you have to worry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you. Yeah. Because at one point on social media, I was only posting things that weren't true.
Lame.
Because I was pretending to be a professional, not pretending to be I am a professional wrestler, but I was pretending to portray a character that wasn't really me, right? I was pretending to be Lights, Camera, Jackson, this like movie star.
Oh yeah.
And it was cool. It was cool for like a bit, but it got me, you know, in certain places and areas in my life as a pro wrestler, and became my full-time job right before kind of COVID hit and things altered in my life. But it got exhausting to a point where like, you know, I felt like I couldn't tweet certain things because that's not what a movie star would tweet. And like, it was like, okay, I can only post these pictures when I'm doing this thing in this outfit on this time. And it's like very, very exhausting because sometimes I just wanted to post like a random photo of me in my PJs and be like, probably can't. I don't know if that's legit. And that's the thought process that some people do go through on their social. Not even pretending to be a professional wrestler who's a movie star, just like living their everyday life. And it gets exhausting and tiring, and so it's hard to post on the internet very authentic, vulnerable, open things, but it's much less exhausting for your body and your mind and your spirit. And it also frees you from being controlled by the likes. If you're posting something because you want to, because you care about the subject, then you're not weighed down by how many people view it or like it or comment on it. You're just like, this information is out there. It felt nice to put it out there. It's a bit freeing, almost like having a conversation with a loved one, and now it's out in the public. Someone might see it, someone might not. Cool. That's great, you know? And that could be the transformation that we make as a society on how we could use social media for the better. But that's a long conversation, maybe for another time.
Yeah. You're definitely doing a better job. I remember I watched that Jaxon, what is it, what was it, your first one that you made?
Oh yeah,
that video.
That's a classic.
What was it called?
I don't know. It's on.
You're like getting out of your car.
It's on. Yeah, they're all still on my YouTube channel. Like
I did watch it.
I didn't delete any of them because I want to be able to go back and see those, and I want when my YouTube channel is like hella popular to be able to see this like transition that you can actually make in real time, real life, in front of an audience.
And not during, it didn't take you a very long time either to make that transition, but I watched it and I was like, that is not the Aaron I know. That is not the Aaron I know at all. And it was very amusing to watch that one. I am cracking up just picturing it.
my dad comments on that all the time. He's like, Aaron, I really like the stuff you're doing now. I really like the stuff you're doing now. I'm really, really proud of you. I love you so much. But that first video that you did is still your best one. And I'm like,
he loves it?
I'm like, thanks, Dad.
Oh, that is so funny.
And then he'll strictly call me Jaxon Stone.
That is so funny.
Yeah, he's
way too supportive.
he's been on the pod.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Yeah, I'm not gonna support you like that though. I like your new stuff way better. That one was not your best. I like how much work you put into it though.
So much.
So if you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely go on there. What is it called?
I don't know. There's ones like a documentary.
Yeah. Anyways, you'll have to go check out the YouTube channel and have a good chuckle.
I was using every resource known to man to try to figure that out. Like most of this that I filmed, I was still living with my parents, and they happened to live in a nice house, so I used their house. Yeah. My sister was doing really well because she's an engineer, and she had a really nice apartment and a really nice car, and she was dating this guy who also had a motorcycle, and so I used that at her apartment and my parents' house and their car. It was like it was a team effort.
It was a whole thing.
And like my sister and my mom and my dad were always so supportive. They're like, yeah, we're all in. We'll figure it out. Let's get it. And we filmed some stuff, and I didn't hire anyone to film it. I filmed it on my cell phone and then like winged it, trying to put it together and edit. It was like a wild experience.
It was cool. I mean, I definitely appreciated the level of effort that went into it.
I was committed to the game.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was committed to the game. But anyways, let's circle back.
Okay.
So I want to basically discuss what you do for a living.
Yes.
And then how it related to you helping me with the YouAreLoved stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
I am my title is confusing. It's Stewardship and Donor Relations Associate. I work for a nonprofit organization that supports hospice and senior living. And I work directly for the foundation. So we provide funds primarily for the hospice center. And my role is to kind of steward those funds. And we utilize me in graphic design and some event planning. And now I'm getting to play a little bit more role with donors directly. So a little bit more meeting with them in person, getting to know them better, putting a face to our organization. So I'm pretty excited about that change, but
that's sweet.
Yeah.
And so you moved to Dallas from South Dakota.
Yeah.
Which we will get into in a bit also about that connection when we first met each other. But you just moved to Dallas kind of on a whim.
Yeah, kind of.
With your best friend Peyton.
Yes.
And is that the job that you have now? I know you've advanced in the role through being here, but is that the first job you got when you moved here?
No. So when I was in South Dakota, I was working for Athleta. And so moving to Dallas, I just transferred to a different store. So I was a manager at Athleta in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And then...
Sioux Falls?
Yeah. And then...
what's Athleta? Is it like Lululemon?
It's like the Lululemon competitor. It's Gap Inc.
Oh, sweet.
So I was working there, and then...
Which one in Dallas?
On Oaklawn.
Oh, nice.
It was fun for a while, but obviously, I needed a big girl job.
Yeah.
So I was also working at the Happiest hour for a while as a hostess, and...
We love that place.
Yeah, I had literally run into somebody on the street one day, and we started talking about my career experience, because before I started working retail, I was working in healthcare. I was doing direct care. I worked as a direct support professional, certified nurse's assistant, med aid kind of a thing. So I had done some management in that field, and I just didn't want to do that forever. So I stepped out and started trying retail, stuff like that. Anyway, so I ran into this guy literally on the street. We started talking about my work experience, and he worked for this company that I work for now. And I applied there as basically a receptionist. Got the job, worked there for like a month and a half before I was moved into an interim position to work directly for the CEO, CFO, COO, and EDs. And so I kind of just hustled. I knew nothing. I hustled for a while, figured it out, and it ended up working out really well for me. So I got promoted permanently into that role, and then a little bit less than a year later, I moved into this role that I have now, which was created just for me based off of the things that I was doing for the organization. So I feel really good about that. I feel like I kind of built that for myself. But I also had a lot of support. They were really supportive of me. They kind of saw that I was working really hard, and they pushed me to work harder, and they helped me, kind of figure out the things that I wanted to do. So yeah, it's a fun place to work, and I'm really enjoying what I do. So
you feel fulfilled there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what my next step is. There's a few different areas that I specialize in now that I want to figure out which one is the right direction for me, and then work toward that. But there's just a few different areas within my role right now that I'd like to refine a little bit. Mm-hmm.
What's it like working with donors directly?
I haven't really done too much of that yet, if I'm being honest. It's mostly just phone calls, and then I'll, if they come to my events and stuff like that, I'll get to know them that way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be honest, I'm a little nervous about it, not because I don't think I can do it, but because I am more of a background person. I've always been like that. I'm like perfectly content, like running on the computers and like being insanely busy and like being in the chaos and running everything behind the scenes. It makes me just a little bit more nervous being in person with people and being on the front lines, but I know I can do it. It's going to be a fun change for me.
Yeah.
It's a little out of my comfort zone, but in a good way.
Yeah, I have found it extremely challenging to ask for money, even when it comes to something that you believe in with every ounce of person that you have. Like, I obviously believe in You Are Loved. It's like the most important thing that's in my life, and I still have trouble asking people directly for money if they are interested in the organization itself. And for one, I think it's because I feel like if someone is donating, like they're getting a piece of the organization, and then they might not believe in it as much as I do, then I feel like I'm losing a piece of it. Like, that none of that is true and real, right? But that's just like how I'm thinking about it in like these very new stages of developing what I'm trying to develop. And then it's just hard. It's just hard to be like, this is what I'm asking for. What can you do? So I was speaking to some people who did donate to You Are Loved. They're the biggest donor so far.
Fantastic.
And they're used to like organizations asking them for money, so they were giving me some tips. And it was really, really nice. And it's like, you need to be able to say with confidence what you want this person to give. Like, based on how much whatever, based on some circumstances, like, hey, I'm asking you for this amount, and it's their job to say yes or no to that. But you've asked directly and confidently and passionately about this, and you said the number, and you have to be about it. So I'm learning. I'm learning. Yeah,
absolutely. It's getting out of the comfort zone. I think the one thing that I've taken from my experience so far is you're not going to get anything if you don't go for the ask. So like, you have to be comfortable enough to ask. And for you, like, you have such a great mission and you have so much passion for what you do that like asking should be the easiest part, I think, and that's hard because I'm literally sitting here telling you that I'm going to be uncomfortable about it, but like, you just like you literally speak so much passion into what you do. You have so much mission, and you just speak things into action when you talk about You Are Loved. So I think, yes, finding people's capacity when you're going into having those donor conversations, understanding their capacity and knowing what you can possibly get from them is important. But like once you start talking about stuff, I think people can kind of just feel what you got going on. Yeah. They feel how much you care about your company. And that's one of the reasons why I felt like you should be able to start doing more fundraising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that leads us right to
yes, it is.
It's a perfect segue
yes.
into this. So basically, You Are Loved. If you don't know, if you're listening to this because you follow Christina on social media or whatever, and you've never listened to an episode of Jaxon Talks, everybody, or this is like you're a new fan, new follower, or whatever, awesome, welcome, thanks for being here. I love you so much. But You Are Loved is my mental health nonprofit organization that I own and operate by myself. With that said, I have some very lovely, amazing, helpful people in my life who had offered to help me with certain things. Christina being one of them. So that's why I wanted to talk about her job first, as she has like some expertise in this area of working with nonprofits. And so she had the brilliant idea that I should run a fundraiser.
Yeah, we'll see if it's brilliant. So far it's panning out, yeah. You are the one-man band for You Are Loved, and I don't think people really realize that. Like, you have some people who volunteer their time and energy because they care about you and they support your mission, but like you're doing it by yourself, and your heart is so in it, and I see that. God, I don't know why. It just makes me so emotional because you carry so much with this organization. Mm-hmm. You carry so much with the people that you support, and you want to give to every single one of them. And like, how many messages do you get like a day from people?
Quite a few.
Yeah, and you're doing everything. You're supporting these counseling sessions, you're supporting any conversation that comes to you, you're doing everything financially and emotionally, mentally, you're supporting the entire thing on your own. And I won't speak for you, but in my opinion, it's unsustainable. Like that it's just gonna weigh on you. And with how much you care about people, with how much room you have in your heart to give to other people, to make them feel that they are loved. You just can't do it all on your own. And so the idea of doing the You Are Loved fundraiser is to be able to have you, the supporters of Jaxon Talks, everybody, and You Are Loved, and Everybody Brand, and Jaxon Stone in general, to stand beside him and give him a hand, because he's got this big mission to change the world and to create a world with no mental suffering. And that's a mission that he probably can do it by himself, but I just don't think he has to. And so the You Are Loved fundraiser is set up to ask you guys to support him, so that you can stand beside him and support your brothers and your sisters and your neighbors and your mom, your dad, anybody who's dealing with some sort of mental suffering, that they have somebody to stand beside them. And we can all kind of change the world with him a little bit. I love, when I think about you, a quote from Dr. Seuss comes to mind from the Lorax, when the Onceler says, "Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, it's not going to get better." It's not. And you are that one person that cares a whole awful lot. And I know there's other people out there, other organizations out there. I think you're just doing the most. I think you're doing the most. And I think that we can get people to at least offer a financial aid in order to extend your outreach to people, and maybe even gather you some volunteers, people who want to help answer some of those messages and answer some of those phone calls, and whatever kind of skill set people have. I think you can get that. And I want to see you be successful in this mission to end mental suffering.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Thank you.
So anyways, Jaxon Stone is amazing. And you can quote me on that.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say to that. No. Except for thank you. The fundraiser is happening.
It's happening.
In part because you told me that I should do it. That I could do it, that it was something that would benefit me, and it has. And it's actually been a very seamless event planning thing.
Yeah.
We've gotten very lucky with the venue and the performers and the artists that have offered to perform and share their art with the people that show up. And ticket sales are all right as of right now, but donations...
There's room for you, so you can buy a ticket.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yep.
If you're close to Denton, Texas. And donations have exceeded my expectations by a long shot. And I'm even more... I didn't know this was possible because I'm a very hopeful person, but I'm even more hopeful than I was before. So I hopefully soon in the future, YouAreLoved can hire a full-time employee. We can lead to more stuff, more events, more conferences, more groups, more sponsoring of people's help. We can reach people in different areas and cultures and environments and all of these things that can change one person at a time, which is the aim. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of this with me and helping me and caring about me and checking on me and thank you. All right, we're transitioning. We're transitioning now into a very important topic: South Dakota.
Woo-hoo! I don't know. He's more excited about it.
Yes. Yes. So I went to South Dakota State University for 4 years, from 2010 to 2014. I played baseball there. South Dakota State University is known as the Harvard of the Midwest. You can quote me on that. Quote me on that.
I don't know if I would.
It's the Harvard of the Midwest, South Dakota State University. I played baseball there. The school is located in Brookings, South Dakota, which is about 45 minutes from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is the city that Christina had mentioned previously. And you were not born in South Dakota.
I was not.
When did you move to that state, and why did it change your life so beautifully and amazingly and magically?
Wow. You're really setting me up there. It did not. It did not. I love that you love it so much. I'm not trashing on South Dakota. I will trash winter weather, though. I will trash the winters.
We can.
South Dakota has a lot to appreciate. It is a beautiful state. I hate winter. I love that my birthday, I don't know what temperature it is right now, but it is like probably 60 degrees or something. This is amazing. But anyways, I moved to South Dakota when I was a 5th grader. So I was born in Montana. Then we trickled over to Minnesota for a while. And then when I was in 5th grade, we moved to South Dakota. And I moved to giant town called Marion. This is getting Marion, South Dakota is getting put on the map right now. When we moved there, I think there was 650 people in the whole town. I graduated with 23 people, and I think it was the largest class by like 10. My little sister graduated a few years after me, and she had 11 people in her graduating class.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How many stoplights do you have in that town?
Stoplights?
So none. Yeah, it's just
What's
stop
a stoplight?
Okay. I was going to say maybe you had one or two, but mostly only stop signs.
We didn't have a single stoplight, no. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was like a mile from one end of the town to the other.
And then how far was that into like the actual downtown of Sioux Falls?
Downtown Sioux Falls, so Marion's west of Sioux Falls, and downtown Sioux Falls is the furthest east. So I guess to get all the way down there, probably 60 minutes.
So not too bad.
Yeah.
Wild, because when Christina and I first met, I told her where I went to school, and then she said that she was from South Dakota, and it was like, well, It's meant to be. Because all of my best friends in the whole world, I met at South Dakota State. Not all of them were from South Dakota. One of them was Jessie. She's been on this podcast a couple times. But I met all of them at South Dakota State. And then I meet this person in Dallas. And she's from South Dakota. And then we become really close friends. It's like this like whole, I don't know. It's the universe. Something's happening.
Yeah.
But I was not prepared whatsoever for the winters in South Dakota.
Oh, it's worse than you can imagine.
And
some places are colder.
I couldn't buy enough clothes. I couldn't wear enough stuff to be able to walk to class, which wasn't very far, maybe a mile, in negative 40 degrees. Okay. That's negative 40.
You're being a little dramatic.
No, I'm not.
There were maybe a few negative 40 days, but
routinely it's negative 30 or negative 20 in the winter.
It gets really cold. It's like you step outside and your face hurts.
Like you don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to class, you have to undress for like 4 or 5 minutes. Like
the second you get in the building, you're immediately sweating. You're like, oh my God, I got this. You're like freezing cold outside, and then you're like, okay, I got to get all this stuff off me.
Yeah.
Because they blast the heat in the winter inside the building, so it's so uncomfortable. You gotta wear tank tops and shorts indoors.
Right. And so now, like, it was like 20 degrees here in Dallas like a couple weeks ago. And I'm just not used to cold weather anymore. And that's like, doesn't feel great. Mm-mm. But I have been taking a lot of cold showers. Every day I take a cold shower. I highly recommend taking cold showers. If you haven't tried it, it's like a really good reset for your nervous system, and it boosts your metabolism. Two really cool things.
Well, I'm a big advocate for blasting the heat all the way up in the shower, so...
Well, taking warm showers is really good before you go to bed, because it shuts you down.
I will not promote cold showers.
I promote cold showers, and so I've been taking them a lot, which actually increases your ability to just be outside in cold weather. Obviously, if you're going to be in a cold shower or a cold tub, you can handle colder temperatures outside. So that was actually helpful. And then me and my girlfriend, I'm sure you guys saw if you listen to this pod or follow me on social, that we went to Colorado Springs and we were in some snow and did some hiking in some mountains, and that was all cool. But that weather, my point being, is that weather is still different than a South Dakota winter or like a Minnesota winter, because it's like the frozen tundra out there.
It's ugly.
But besides that, I had the best time out there. 4 years, amazing. But I was in like, college town, a college setting. It's much different than growing up or being just living in like a city in South Dakota, which I imagine could be absolutely magical. But going to school there was the best. Yeah. And then I met you, and you're from there too.
Yeah. I didn't, I actually went to school just like 20, 30 minutes from Brookings. And so I would go to Brookings every once in a while. My sister was a jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit!
Yes! I think Brookings is a pretty cool college town. As far as South Dakota goes, they set up that town really, really well. Yeah. I think that they did a really good job in that town. So I can imagine that you did have a great experience. Anybody that I know that's a jackrabbit loves being a jackrabbit. They rep it hard. So I support it.
Let's go. I'm going back in September for a baseball alumni weekend.
Oh,
so
fun.
Very excited.
What all goes down then?
Not sure. It's never happened before.
Interesting.
I set it up. I emailed the new coach at SDSU to try to set up an alumni weekend, because I was speaking to some of the guys about it. We're like, we need to get together.
Yeah.
Alumni weekend would be great. And so September 10th, we're going to go to a football game, maybe have a home run derby on the field, talk to the new players, schmooze, hang, chill, vibe, and all that good stuff.
What was your favorite bar?
The 9.
The 9, for sure, yeah. Okay.
For sure.
The 9, man.
me and my homies seriously contemplate all the time opening up a bar down there. And because we still have one friend, his name's Scott. He lives in Sioux Falls, about 45 minutes from Brookings. And he would basically be the guy to see the bar and make sure it was good. But we would own it.
Oh, okay.
It would be like a country bar, because there's not one there that's like real country. No, there's like...
Really?
The 9's like a clubby club.
There's one. There is one.
They opened up a new one. It's like kind of country, but there's not one that's like real good.
And in Brookings, of all places.
Yeah.
That should be the number one.
And so we would think it'd be like two levels, and
Heck yeah. You got like a little honky tonk on the top.
Yeah, I think we could.
You
really
could put a
manage
real
that.
Fort Worth twist on it too.
Right.
Oh, cool. That would be a cool
So
idea.
we have an idea. So there might be a business idea for Brooklyn, South Dakota.
Nice.
But cool.
Love that idea.
I have one more question for you.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know if it's a question. It's more maybe it's a statement. Your thoughts on it. Anyways.
Okay.
So I mentioned earlier that one of the reasons that I connected with you so well is that I believe that you have like a lot of self-awareness.
Okay.
Which is I think an important tool for growth, which you've used in your personal life and your professional life, as you stated. How did you develop that awareness? If you're conscious of that awareness, or is it something that you've like always had, like felt in your gut or your intuition, or did you like read something, learn something? What did you do? If you can answer that question.
Yeah. I think I have an answer for that question.
Okay.
I have always struggled with self-confidence. I just grew up like shitting on myself, like I just never really felt, I've always had insecurities. Whole list goes on and on and on. And I think that there was a pressure that I put on myself to try really hard to fit in and to be somebody that people liked and that they wanted to, I just wanted to be liked really badly. So I think that it just made me like really consider all of my actions, anything that I said, anything that I did. And this is not me promoting being like this. It is a very toxic behavior to have for yourself, but it did end up working out for me as an adult. I am a little bit more aware of how people receive me, but I was always watching for that because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing something to make people not like me. And with that, I was also paying a lot of attention to how people responded. I was paying attention to other people's actions. And I think it has helped me to become a very well-rounded, I obviously still have a lot to work on in those areas, but I think that I am a little bit, I can see both sides in a relationship or in a conversation or whatever. I do try really hard to put myself in somebody else's shoes, and I try really hard to be aware of how I'm coming across, not just are my intentions coming out clearly, how am I being received optically, I think sometimes it's hard to really let your true self come out in interactions, and so it's just how am I actually being received, and I have paid a lot of attention to that, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a good thing, but it was toxic behavior for me growing up. So.
And how does it play out now in your life?
I think it's good. It's good. I don't know.
You think it's more helpful now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely helpful. Yeah. There's areas in that I still have to work on. I think that because I've had to overcome so many insecurities and not being confident in who I am, I'm really like starting to become more focused on like what is important to me, what is more authentically me, what are the things that I actually like and that I do, and not just like catering to other people. And so there is a little bit of a battle in my head about how I need to I don't know, it's hard to explain, but what behaviors I need to really be true to and which ones I need to not be true to. But being self-aware is part of it. It's
yeah.
I
understand what you mean. No, I know that. Yeah. I know that at least over the couple years that I've known you, or year and a half, whatever it is, that you've been on like a bit of a self-discovery journey.
Yeah.
I don't know where you were at before I met you, but I know you've come a long way into like, being who you are. And I always found you to be authentic, at least in our conversations. And I always found that very attractive as to why we're still friends.
Yeah.
And doing whatever we're doing together. And so it's cool to see that, and it's cool to notice that in someone else, that they're like trying to live by a certain set of principles and values, but they don't have it all figured out because no one has it all figured out.
Yeah.
And as you talk about things, we talked about this before, like as we're talking about things, we're also exploring the ideas if we think that those are true things or not. Like we're using our words to process some thoughts in the midst of a conversation, which I think the podcast is really cool for that, because not everything that is said on here is 100% fact. Like I'm trying to figure it out as it's being worked through. And that's why I like having guests on. And I just like recording basically a normal conversation we've had a bunch of times.
Yeah.
With also some other details about your life. But it's been a cool self-discovery journey for me, and uncovering lots of things about myself that I find really great, but also find difficult to understand. And I think the same thing is for you as well.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've thoroughly enjoyed about our relationship is I don't find it easy to talk about myself, and you have no problem asking me hard questions. And so you've been a pretty key part in my journey. I think that it's been really nice to be able to just have a like open forum to just like sit down and talk things out. And so like you said, a lot of the times I'm sitting here having a conversation with you, and this is my first time even realizing, like I'm like speaking about it like it's something I've known forever, and I'm like, this is literally a brand new concept that I've just come up with. And it's because that we get to just talk so freely with each other. And like I don't have a problem being vulnerable and sharing my secrets, and it really does make it more comfortable to talk about the things that are going on in your head and have some self-realizations. It's cool stuff.
It is super cool. I think it's the coolest stuff. Wow, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. That was an amazing episode. Is this your first podcast ever? First podcast ever?
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
I have always under the impression that I thought you should have a podcast.
I'm a rambler.
Maybe that's what this is for. These episodes can be 30 minutes long or 2 hours and 30 minutes long. This is like free form conversation. There's so much freedom in this. But anyways, we can work on that. We can work on that later with you, convincing you to have a podcast.
Okay. Christina Talks, everybody.
That's a great name. That's a great name.
It just came out.
How did you get that?
I
Where
don't
did that
even
come
know.
from?
Yeah, it just came to me. It was magic's meant to be.
But amazing. I encourage you to share this episode with a friend, family member, colleague, peer.
Purchase tickets to the YouAreLoved event on March 10th.
Yes, please. And you can support this podcast or You Are Loved. The best way to do that besides donations and buying tickets or subscribing to the YouTube channel is through Patreon. The first 4 tiers on Patreon go directly to funding this podcast and funding mental health initiatives. Patreon.com/Jaxon Stone. Become a subscriber, and there's cool options. There's $1, $3, $5 options, all the way up to a $75 option, and that's per month basis. So that's the best way to support the pod. Subscribe, rate us on Apple, share us on Spotify, all the good stuff. But I really, really appreciate you listening and watching this episode. Thank you, Christina. I have lots of love for you. And see you guys next time.
Bye. Thank you.